Who is kin? Who is a sibling? Who is a sister? Merriam-Webster's online dictionary provides, as might have been expected, an unsatisfying answer to this question. These definitions feel wrong and incomplete. They also do not begin to take into account the integral role of kinship and identity. According to Kuhn, photographs acting as traces of our former lives are pressed into service in a never-ending process of making, remaking, and making sense of ourselves. In a series of 4 photographs of myself and my sisters, I will attempt to show why photographs play an integral role in reinforcing ideas of connection between family, and that through this connection they shape perception of self. The joy of riding on someone's shoulders as a child comes in part from sheer excitement of not having to look up at the world. In this photograph, you can see my slight but desired fear of falling, in the way I have my legs clamped around my sister's shoulders, and how both of our arms are in the air, in an attitude of, "Hey Mom, look! No hands!" The background of this photo, meanwhile, is the blank white of the walls, which serves to highlight that while this event might be taking place inside a house, what is most important is the relationship between Catherine and myself. This image shows just how much older she was and reveals an important dynamic to our relationship. Because of the age difference, I was someone she played with, but not someone she would talk boys and share secrets with. This photograph freezes a moment where we were both a unit and divided by our differences. I am utterly the little sister. In all of these photographs, the unseen presence behind the camera is a mother. Yet in this one, the angle is particularly striking because it almost conveys my perspective as the sister who is 6 years younger. Both of us are playing and acting silly, yet elements of the dynamic between us is still evident. My hand is upheld, reaching for the hat in the literal sense, but also reaching symbolically. I am seeking to be as silly as she is, seeking to be like my older sister, but not quite being able to reach my desire. I am always the younger, and often at a disadvantage because of the lack of height and age. I am still her little sister. What were in the past mostly moments of silliness and perhaps slight frustration, from the perspective of today, have much more profound meaning. Only a few years after these photographs were taken, my sister died at the age of 15 from Ewing sarcoma. No photograph of my sister can ever be looked at the same way it would have been before her illness. In both of these photographs, I now focus on her beautiful long hair. I feel the heartbreak she felt when she lost it, and my attempt to make it better by cutting off my own, still seeking to be like her in any way I could. From this perspective, I am not simply reaching for a hat, but for the essence of who my sister was. Just as I wanted to connect with her and be like her at the time, through these photographs I still seek to connect with her. I seek to connect with who I was as a younger sister. I am using these traces of who I was and continually redefining myself through them. The very reason I came into possession of these photographs was because I wanted to take a part of my older sister with me when I went to college, something she never had a chance to do. It was, in effect, taking these traces of her and my past with me in order to create a bridge between the stages of my life. In this photograph, Cheyenne, Kelsey, and I are sitting on their porch having a tea party lunch. This was shortly after I moved back into the house I was born in and discovered that the little girls who Catherine had helped to teach walk were still living next door. My place as partial outsider in the group is evident in both the clothes we are wearing and the space between us. Cheyenne on the left and Kelsey in the middle are wearing variations of the same outfit, while my outfit is entirely different. Cheyenne and Kelsey are also leaning closely together while I am slightly farther to the right, and I have not put my arms around either of them. If, as Hinrich says, photographic practice has the effect of, quote, reinforcing the integration of the family group by reasserting the sense that it has both of itself and of its unity, then this is not a photograph of a family. The unity between Cheyenne and Kelsey is obvious, just as obvious as my existence somewhat outside of that unity. I am an only child. The next photograph, several years later, tells a very different story. These girls and I do not share a mother or a father. In fact, we share no blood or legal ties. To most of the world, we would be seen as simply neighbors. What we are, really, is sisters, and I dare anyone to try and tell me differently. There is something that separates the feelings generated for very close friends and those you feel for your siblings. I cannot easily describe this feeling. What I can do is tell you that these girls are more than friends, and in a way I can only think to call sisters. In this photograph, Cheyenne, Kelsey, and I are all outside in front of their house. I went over to say hello and take pictures, as I had promised, before I left for the Human Rights Watch dinner I was going to. In this photograph, I have my arms wrapped around both of them, and I am holding my little sisters close. Cheyenne, bending slightly awkwardly towards me, is still not used to her newfound height, while Kelsey, with total confidence, grins right into the camera. I also brought both of these photographs with me to college, wanting to have representations of all of my sisters with me. The feelings leading to that choice, however, were different, as would be expected, than the ones associated with the photographs of Catherine and I. While they still served as a connection between my past and my new life, they lacked the element of bittersweet regret. Instead, they were filled with the excitement of being the first to go, and being the one who would come home and share my experiences with them. I am the older sister. Haldrup and Larson do not argue, as Barth does, that there is an element, a putum, that moves people when they view a photograph. Instead, they say that it is because the photographs are in a sense transparent that people are moved. Quote, people quite literally see through them. They do not see a photograph of a loved one, only the person. Further, they argue that personal photographs enable people to travel through time, to, quote, connect with and revive memories of events and people. It is through this ability to, for a moment, see my sisters and I as we were, to reconnect with my memories of them, that I redefine myself, as an only child, as a younger sister, and as an older sister.